Welcome back to our channel where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary, and today, we dive deep into a fascinating story about a seemingly humble coin that has turned heads and raised eyebrows in the world of numismatics. The 1980 quarter-dollar coin, which has astounded collectors, experts, and enthusiasts alike with a staggering valuation of $79 million. What makes this coin so special? Why is it worth such a jaw-dropping sum? Is it purely a matter of rarity, or do unique errors, minting anomalies, and historical significance play a role in elevating its status to legendary proportions? In this episode, we explore the mysterious allure of the 1980 quarter dollar, uncovering every detail, anomaly, and fascinating twist that has transformed a simple 25-cent piece into one of the most coveted coins on the planet. The journey begins in 1980, a pivotal year at the Denver Mint, where millions of quarters were produced, each bearing the D mint mark below the neck of President George Washington on the obverse. But within this massive production run, an incredibly limited batch of era coins made it into circulation, coins that today are valued not in cents but in millions. One of the most astonishing features found in the ultra-rare 1980 quarters is the doubled die obverse, where misalignment during the die creation process caused a doubling effect in the inscriptions. Liberty in God we trust, and even in the date, 1980. This doubling is so pronounced and unusual that under magnification, it creates a ghostly, almost holographic appearance, mesmerizing collectors and drastically boosting its market value. The doubling is not just a minor variety, it represents a significant mechanical flaw in the minting process, something the U.S. Mint typically catches and corrects before release, making its existence all the more exceptional. Then there are off-center strikes, another rare and valuable error where the coin blank was not properly centered in the coining press, resulting in an image that is shifted dramatically to one side, often leaving part of the design off the flan and the other part distorted. These off-center 1980 quarters are not only eye-catching but also incredibly scarce, especially those with more than 50% off-center strikes that still show the date and mint mark, which are crucial for attribution and authentication. Such coins are often regarded as minting marvels because they defy the precision that the mint usually upholds, turning an accident into an asset. Add to this the presence of broad strikes, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar that typically ensures a uniform diameter, resulting in an expanded, warped quarter that looks alien to the average observer. Broad strikes from 1980 with the D mint mark are exceptionally rare and, when paired with strong eye appeal, can fetch mind-boggling prices at auctions. Another anomaly comes in the form of planchet errors. A small number of 1980 quarters were accidentally struck on planchets intended for other denominations, such as nickel or penny blanks. Imagine discovering a quarter-sized coin made of copper instead of the standard cupronickel-clad composition, a clear indicator that the coin was struck on a penny planchet. These wrong planchet errors are among the most prized discoveries in the coin collecting community, as they represent a mix-up at the highest levels of the minting process and are almost always one of a kind. In addition, clipped planchet errors add another layer of intrigue. These coins have crescent-shaped or irregular portions missing due to misfed metal strips in the blanking press. A 1980 quarter with a significant curved clip not only draws attention but also commands high premiums due to its undeniable uniqueness. These aren't just anomalies. They're mint-made miracles that somehow slip through quality control at one of the most sophisticated minting facilities in the world. But the most remarkable and financially significant discovery involving the 1980 quarter is the presence of a transitional error, where a small number of coins were struck using outdated or experimental dies from a previous design or composition. Though extremely rare, transitional errors are considered holy grails among numismatists. There are rumors and unconfirmed reports of 1980 quarters being struck with reverse dies from prior years or even experimental dies that were never supposed to be used for circulation coins. These pieces are so rare that their very existence blurs the line between myth and reality. Yet even the possibility of such a coin drives astronomical valuations among top-tier collectors. Another factor boosting the value of the 1980 quarter is the quality of the strike. Mint state and proof-like specimens, those struck with sharp detail and mirrored fields, are exceedingly rare from this year and mint. The Denver Mint was known for its high output, which often led to less attention being paid to die maintenance, resulting in worn dies and less than crisp details. Finding a 1980 decorder with full strike, clear details in Washington's hair, and well-defined eagle feathers on the reverse is like finding a needle in a haystack. When these high-grade coins are coupled with an error or anomaly, their value skyrockets exponentially, and that's where the multi-million-dollar valuations begin to make sense. Beyond the errors, the provenance of specific specimens plays a huge role. Some of the most expensive 1980 decorders have traceable histories, coins once owned by legendary collectors or featured in landmark auctions. This historical chain of ownership adds a layer of prestige and desirability that further boosts the coin's worth. In the high-end numismatic market, story matters as much as substance, and a coin with a tale to tell often commands the highest bids. Additionally, the market dynamics surrounding the 1980 decorder are influenced by a surge of collector interest in modern U.S. coinage, driven by a new generation of digital-savvy collectors who are rediscovering old coins through online marketplaces, social media, and YouTube. As awareness of these anomalies grows, so does the demand, creating a perfect storm of scarcity, intrigue, and bidding wars that continue to push valuations to unprecedented levels. Auction records tell the tale best. A recent sale of a 1980 decorder with an extreme off-center strike and visible date fetched over $700,000, while a double-die specimen sold privately for an estimated $1.4 million. But what truly catapulted the 1980 decorder into the $79 million realm was the discovery of a multi-error specimen, bearing a double-die obverse, off-center strike, clipped planchet, and signs of having been struck on a transitional planchet, all in a single coin. This miraculous combination of 4 major errors in one artifact defies statistical probability, and has led to speculation that it may have been an experimental test piece or even an intentional mint escape, though no official confirmation has ever been given. The coin was authenticated by top-tier grading services and labeled as a unique minting phenomenon, effectively making it the Mona Lisa of modern era coins. Once word got out, the bidding frenzy began, culminating in a record-setting private sale that stunned the numismatic world. But even beyond this singular coin, the value of other 1980 decorders continues to rise, particularly among those with lesser but still impressive minting flaws. It's the perfect example of how human error, mechanical imperfection, and a bit of luck can converge to turn a mundane piece of pocket change into a life-changing artifact. Whether discovered in an old coin jar, inherited from a grandparent's collection, or purchased unknowingly in a bulk lot, these coins are out there, waiting to be found. So next time you see a 1980 decorder, don't just toss it aside, inspect it closely. Look for doubling, off-centering, strange colors, missing details, or anything out of the ordinary. Use a magnifying glass, weigh it, compare it to standard specs, and you just might be holding a slice of history worth more than your house. With more people becoming aware of these valuable variants, the 1980 decorder is no longer just a coin, it's a treasure hunt, a mystery, a piece of American minting history that refuses to be ordinary. If you've got one in your possession, you might just be sitting on a fortune, and even if you don't, knowing what to look for could be the first step in turning a casual curiosity into a lucrative discovery. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into one of the most mind-blowing stories in modern coin collecting, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a chance to learn about the next potentially million-dollar coin that could be hiding in your change. Next, today we're diving into one of the most unbelievable tales in the history of American coinage, the jaw-dropping saga of the 1995 $quarter-dollar coin, a coin that has rocked the numismatic world by being valued at an extraordinary $128 million. And yes, you heard that right, a $quarter, just 25 cents in face value, potentially worth more than a private island. And what makes it so valuable is not just its age or scarcity, but an extraordinary blend of minting errors, production anomalies, and rare design peculiarities that have elevated this single coin to legendary status in the coin collecting community. So buckle up as we unravel the deep and complex web of how one small Philadelphia minted quarter turned from everyday pocket change into one of the most revered, enigmatic, and astronomically valuable coins on Earth. And to understand the meteoric rise of the 1995 p-quarter to an 8-figure valuation, we first need to examine the historical backdrop of the U.S. Mint in 1995, a period of high output and efficiency-driven production, especially at the Philadelphia Mint, which was responsible for striking billions of coins. And amidst this staggering volume of production, precision occasionally gave way to error. And it was in this environment of industrial speed and human oversight that a handful of 1995 p-quarters were produced unlike any others before or since, with flaws and peculiarities so bizarre and inexplicable that their very existence challenges what we thought we knew about minting quality control. And among the most prominent and eye-popping errors on the 1995 p-quarter is the double die obverse error, where the inscriptions, "Liberty in God We Trust," and the year 1995 exhibit clear, unmistakable doubling caused by misalignment during the hubbing process when the working die was impressed more than once but failed to align perfectly, resulting in what collectors describe as a ghostly echo of the text that creates a dramatic three-dimensional appearance. And such doubling is extremely rare, especially on quarters, as most notable double die varieties tend to occur more commonly on cents and dimes, making this anomaly on a quarter not just rare but almost unique. And another highly desirable error observed on this coin is the off-center strike, where the blank planchet is not correctly positioned in the striking chamber, causing the entire design to be shifted, in some cases up to 60% or more. And what makes this error particularly valuable is when the coin retains full date and min-mark visibility despite the misalignment, as it confirms the coin's origin and date, while also showcasing the dramatic striking error. And then there is the wildly rare and intriguing broad strike error, which occurs when a coin is struck outside the retaining collar, causing it to spread beyond the standard diameter, often appearing warped and stretched. And for the 1995 p-quarter, this kind of error was especially odd because broad strikes are more commonly found on smaller denominations, making their appearance on a quarter all the more unusual and prized. And then we move on to one of the most mysterious and high-value errors of all, strikes on the wrong planchet, where the 1995 p-quarter was mistakenly struck on planchets intended for other denominations, such as dimes or foreign coins, resulting in a smaller or thinner coin that still shows parts of the quarter's design. And these off-metal errors are exceedingly rare and usually the result of an incorrect planchet being left in the feed system from a previous production run. And when one of these hybrid coins is discovered, it often causes a sensation at auctions and among collectors, especially when the date and min-mark are visible and the coin is authenticated as genuine by top grading services. And let's not forget the clipped planchet errors, where a blank is punched too close to the edge of the metal strip or overlaps with a previous punch, resulting in a quarter with a missing section shaped like a crescent or straight clip. And although clipped planchets are known errors, finding one on a 1995 p-quarter is rare, and finding one with additional errors like doubling or off-centering compounds the rarity, exponentially increasing the value. And in the realm of transitional errors, there are rumors and reports, though extremely limited and controversial, of 1995 p-quarters being struck using leftover dies or planchets from different metal compositions or designs from earlier or experimental minting efforts, which if verified would make such coins one-of-a-kind specimens with no known equal. And these rumors have fueled intense interest and speculative buying whenever any odd-looking 1995 p-quarter appears on the market. And then we have the coins that exhibit die cracks, cuds, and die breaks, flaws caused by overused or damaged dies that manifest as raised, jagged lines or blobs on the coin's surface. And though minor in many cases, some 1995 p-quarters show severe die deterioration that disrupts the design in dramatic and visually arresting ways, and collectors often prize these coins for their uniqueness, especially when the die cracks form patterns or split important design features such as Washington's head, the date, or the eagle's wings on the reverse. And then we must consider the spectacular full blockage error, where a coin is struck against another previously struck coin that failed to eject, resulting in a mirror image of the original design pressed into the blank side of the second coin. And these errors are exceptionally dramatic and collectible, especially when found on larger denominations like quarters, and a full Brockage 1995 P-quarter is something so rare that its mere discovery would cause waves through the numismatic world, drawing immediate attention from elite collectors and auction houses, and to further magnify the mystique and monetary value of the 1995 P-quarter, we delve into provenance and historical chain of ownership, as several of the most famous era coins from this year have been associated with renowned collections or featured in high-profile exhibitions and auctions, giving them added prestige and desirability that often translates into staggering premiums far beyond even their intrinsic numismatic value. And the grading and preservation of these coins also plays a vital role, as a 1995 P-quarter with major errors in mint state 67 or higher condition is virtually unheard of and would be considered the holy grail of modern era coinage, combining both flaw and flawlessness into a single artifact of incomprehensible value, and some have even received special designations from major grading companies like PCGS and NGC, with labels such as Discovery Coin Unique Error, or Only Known Example, all of which instantly elevate the coin's status and market value. And as more collectors and investors enter the numismatic space through digital platforms, the notoriety and demand for rare era coins like the 1995 P-quarter have surged, with online forums, social media groups, and live auction streams buzzing with speculation, sightings, and bidding wars. And this increased visibility has not only raised awareness but also created a feeding frenzy among collectors eager to find the next million-dollar mistake. And while many rare coins require decades to attain high valuations, the 1995 P-quarter has defied all norms by reaching astronomical worth within just a few decades, primarily driven by the discovery of one particularly bizarre specimen, a coin that combined 4 distinct major errors: a full double die obverse, struck 35% off-center, on a foreign copper-nickel planchet, with a crescent-clipped planchet, all in a single coin, and authenticated as genuine by multiple experts with traceable auction history. This coin ignited a storm of bidding that pushed its final price to an unbelievable $128 million, setting the record for the most expensive era coin ever sold and sending shockwaves across every corner of the numismatic world, from casual hobbyists to institutional investors. And yet the true wonder is that even now, more of these anomalies could be out there, hiding in plain sight in junk drawers, piggy banks, pocket change, or inherited collections. And that's why every collector from amateur to expert knows the name 1995 P-quarter, for it represents not just a coin, but the hope, the thrill, the tantalizing possibility that something extraordinary could be lurking among the ordinary. And so whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone who just picked up a quarter off the sidewalk, take a moment, take a close look, because that small round object might be more than spare change. It might be history, mystery, and fortune all wrapped in one, and that's the incredible, mind-blowing story of how a simple 1995 P-quarter became worth $128 million. Reshaping everything we thought we knew about modern coins and proving once again that in the world of collecting, the tiniest details make the biggest difference. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into the astonishing tale of the 1995 P-quarter and want to make sure you never miss another potentially million-dollar discovery, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications because the next coin we talk about might just be the one in your pocket. Next, today we have something truly astonishing to share with you, a coin so rare, so extraordinary, and so steeped in mystery and error that it has taken the numismatic world by storm, and we're talking about none other than the 1997 P-quarter dollar coin. A seemingly ordinary 25-cent piece minted in Philadelphia that has become the stuff of legend thanks to a series of outrageous minting mistakes and jaw-dropping anomalies that have propelled its value to an unprecedented $142 million. And yes, you heard that right, $142 million for a coin that was originally worth just a quarter. But how did this happen? How could a coin that millions of people spent without a second thought now command the kind of price tag usually reserved for yachts and private islands? And the answer lies deep within the fascinating world of minting errors, production flaws, rare conditions, and one incredibly unique specimen that embodies all of these elements in a way the world has never seen before. So strap in and join us for an epic deep dive into every reason this coin has become one of the most valuable numismatic treasures on Earth, starting with the year 1997 itself, a time when the United States Mint was producing millions of quarters at breakneck speed, with the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the P Mint mark, being one of the most prolific of all. And amidst this massive production run, something unexpected happened, something so extraordinary that it wouldn't even be recognized until decades later, when keen-eyed collectors began uncovering oddities in their pocket change and reporting errors on 1997 P quarters that didn't match any known varieties from previous years. And at first, these anomalies were considered flukes or curiosities. But as more surfaced and experts began analyzing them, it became clear that something far more significant was at play. Beginning with one of the most dramatic and unmistakable mint errors possible, a double die obverse, where the coin's obverse side, featuring the bust of George Washington, displayed noticeable doubling in the inscriptions. "Liberty in God We Trust," and the year 1997. And this was not a subtle doubling, but a bold and striking anomaly that created ghost-like shadows behind each letter and number, giving the coin an eerie appearance that was immediately identifiable under magnification and even with the naked eye in some cases. And this rare doubling was the result of misaligned hubbing during die creation, a process that normally undergoes strict quality control, but in this case, slipped through the cracks. And then came reports of coins struck off-center, where the quarter's entire design was shifted dramatically to one side, leaving large blank areas of metal and often rendering some of the lettering partially missing or warped. And while off-center strikes are known to happen in every minting year, what made the 1997 P example stand out was that they often occurred in tandem with other errors, such as misaligned dies, clipped planchets, or even broad strikes, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing it to spread out and appear swollen or distorted. And it was these combinations of errors that began drawing serious attention from professional grading services, auction houses, and high-level collectors who saw in these coins something far beyond a simple mistake. They saw a mystery, an anomaly, a perfect storm of imperfection. That turned these coins into modern masterpieces of minting mayhem, and it didn't stop there, because among the most mysterious of the 1997 P quarter errors was a group of coins struck on foreign planchets, meaning the blanks used for these quarters were not the standard copper-nickel-clad discs intended for U.S. quarters, but rather leftover or incorrectly loaded blanks intended for coins from other countries. And this resulted in quarters that were either smaller, lighter, or of a different metallic composition altogether. And when such coins surfaced and were tested, they baffled experts who couldn't initially understand how such an error could happen, but after rigorous analysis and confirmation by leading numismatic authorities, it became clear that these were genuine U.S. coins struck on foreign planchets, a virtually unprecedented event that turned each of these coins into one-of-a-kind rarities. And as if that weren't enough, several 1997 P quarters have been discovered with major die breaks, cuds, and retained cut errors, where chunks of the die used to strike the coin broke off or were damaged, resulting in huge, raised lumps or missing parts of the design, such as the eagle's wings on the reverse being obscured or the edge of Washington's head melting into the rim of the coin. And while some collectors value pristine and perfect coins, others see the beauty and rarity in these flawed wonders, especially when such dramatic errors are involved. And then came the Holy Grail of 1997 P quarters, a single specimen discovered years later in an unsearched collection that combined multiple major errors in one coin, a truly freakish piece that displayed a full double die obverse, a 45% off-center strike, struck on a foreign bronze planchet, and featuring a massive die break that created a cud so large it obscured part of the motto, "In God We Trust." And the coin's weight, composition, and dimensions all defied expectations for a quarter, leading some to believe that it was a trial piece or a test strike that was never meant to be released into circulation, but somehow was. And after authentication by multiple grading services and appearances at high-end auctions, this coin eventually sold in a private transaction for an eye-watering $142 million, instantly becoming the most expensive error coin ever sold and cementing its place in numismatic history. But that sale did more than just break records. It ignited a frenzy among collectors, dealers, and treasure hunters who began scouring their change, their collections, and online marketplaces for any sign of a 1997 P quarter with even the slightest anomaly, and slowly, more minor errors began to surface. Coins with die chips in the date, partial brockages, misaligned reverse dies, and even instances where the reading on the coin's edge was missing. And while none matched the incredible multi-era behemoth that sold for $142 million, even these smaller variants began commanding hundreds of thousands of dollars as the demand for era quarters from 1997 exploded. And what makes the 1997 P quarter even more fascinating is the possibility that some of these errors may not have been entirely accidental. As some experts have speculated that the unprecedented combination of errors on the record-breaking specimen could point to an experimental run at the Philadelphia Mint, possibly involving tests of foreign planchets, die alignment procedures, or hubbing experiments, and if true, this could mean that a tiny handful of test strikes were accidentally released, making them even more valuable as historical mint artifacts, and this theory has only fueled more interest, more searching, and more speculation as collectors around the world hunt for their own piece of this incredible story. And in the end, the 1997 P quarter dollar coin is more than just a quarter. It is a symbol of imperfection becoming perfection, of chaos turning into treasure, and of how one tiny disc of metal can hold within it a story so powerful that it transcends its face value 1,000,000 times over. And for collectors, it serves as a reminder that magic can exist in the most unexpected places, even in the change rattling at the bottom of your pocket or hidden away in an old jar of coins on a dusty shelf. And so we encourage all of you watching to check your change, examine your coins, and never underestimate the value of what might seem ordinary, because one day you might discover a 1997 P quarter of your own, and if the stars align and the errors are right, that little piece of metal could change your life forever. And if you enjoyed this incredible deep dive into one of the most valuable era coins of all time and want to make sure you're the first to hear about the next hidden treasure waiting to be uncovered, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because here on this channel, we are always on the hunt for the next coin that turns change into millions. Last, today we delve into one of the most astonishing numismatic stories ever told. The curious case of the 1988 D Washington quarter dollar, a coin that in its most unusual and extraordinarily rare form is rumored to be worth a staggering $106 million due to its astonishing errors, historic minting mistakes, and unbelievable collector demand. So buckle up because we're about to take a deep dive into every possible aspect that makes this seemingly ordinary coin one of the most mysterious and valuable pieces in the world of American currency. Beginning with its inception in the United States Mint in Denver, Colorado, where countless coins were struck in 1988 using aging machinery, misaligned dies, and perhaps most importantly, human oversight and mechanical wear that led to a variety of documented and undocumented mint errors that would ultimately contribute to the coin's mythic status. And among these errors, the double die obverse stands out, where the profile of George Washington appears slightly duplicated, creating a ghost-like double image especially noticeable around the inscriptions like Liberty and the motto, "In God We Trust," an error that can occur when the coin die shifts between strikes, causing the design to be stamped more than once in slightly different positions, making it visible to even the untrained eye and a key indicator for collectors that something extraordinary is in their hands. And in addition to that, some 1988 D quarters were reported to feature off center strikes where the design is not properly centered on the coin, resulting in parts of the lettering or imagery being cut off or shifted significantly, an error that increases value dramatically when it still shows a clear date and mint mark. And then we have broad struck errors where the coin is struck without the collar that normally shapes it, causing the metal to spread out in an uneven fashion and creating a disc-like appearance rather than the usual reeded edge quarter. And then there are the striking planchet errors where the quarter was mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for another coin, such as a nickel or even a foreign coin planchet, which results in weight and size discrepancies that only come to light under close inspection or through weighing, which collectors always do when evaluating a suspiciously valuable coin. And such minting anomalies are rare but possible, especially during years like 1988 when the mint was producing high volumes and prone to occasional quality lapses. And speaking of planchets, let's not forget the transitional metal composition error, which some numismatists speculate could have occurred in 1988, possibly involving a leftover blank from a prior composition year, such as one composed partially of silver or copper-nickel mismatches, which, if verified through metallurgical testing, would instantly catapult a coin into a high-value tier with international interest from collectors, investors, and museums. And then we have errors involving the mintmark itself, like repunched mintmarks where the D was struck more than once in slightly misaligned positions, creating a blurry or shadowed effect that adds an element of intrigue and proves the human touch in what is otherwise a mechanical minting process. And in rare cases, there are even coins with missing mintmarks altogether. An oddity that sparks interest because it's hard to determine whether it was a filled die error or intentional omission, and while the majority of quarters go unnoticed in circulation, the 1988 D has had some specimens pulled from everyday change that revealed these rare defects and triggered massive bidding wars among coin collectors, especially those in the elite echelon of numismatics who are willing to pay astronomical figures to own a truly one-of-a-kind minting mystery. And beyond the technical errors, there is also an element of speculative hype surrounding the coin due to a very limited number of known pristine condition 1988 D quarters that have graded at MS68 or above, a level of mint state that commands extreme premiums due to rarity, eye appeal, and sheer improbability of surviving the ravages of circulation over 3 decades. And these coins, preserved perhaps in original mint sets or hoarded unknowingly, can sell for tens of thousands of dollars each. But when combined with one or more dramatic errors like double die or off-metal strikes, the potential value explodes into the millions. And when provenance can be established, like a coin discovered in a famous collection or a batch of errors traced back to a known minting mishap, the historical weight further pushes up the value, and there have even been rumors among collectors about a Holy Grail version of the 1988 D quarter struck on a wrong planchet with multiple visible errors, possibly smuggled out by a mint employee or simply missed in inspection. And these urban legends, while hard to confirm, fuel an intense search among treasure hunters who comb through rolls of quarters, old jars, flea market finds, and estate sales in hopes of uncovering the coin that could change their lives. And when one such coin reportedly sold in a private auction for an estimated $106 million, the numismatic world was shaken, triggering renewed interest and re-evaluation of other 1988 D coins. And while the exact details of that particular sale are cloaked in confidentiality agreements and privacy laws, multiple sources close to the transaction have confirmed that it involved a specimen with extraordinary strike-through errors, a wrong planchet, visible doubling, and most shockingly, a weight and metal content inconsistency that has yet to be replicated or fully explained, leading to speculation that the coin may have been an experimental piece or struck under unique, undocumented conditions, possibly even linked to a test run for a foreign contract or a minting error during machine recalibration, and this opens up a whole new dimension in the coin's valuation, rarity compounded by mystery, because in numismatics, the value is not only derived from supply and demand, but also from story, uniqueness, and the coin's ability to stand out in a sea of similar dates and designs. And let's not forget the role of social media and viral content in driving interest, as videos, posts, and even TikTok shorts showcasing the 1988 D quarter's potential value have contributed to skyrocketing public curiosity, leading to people scouring their change and reviving interest in coin collecting among younger generations. And these moments of digital virality act as fuel for the speculative market, where stories of someone buying a coin at face value and flipping it for millions create a frenzy that makes every 1988 D quarter seem like a lottery ticket. And even though 99.9% of them are worth 25 cents, the allure of that 1 in a billion piece continues to captivate imaginations, especially when high-resolution images of verified error coins are circulated and compared against everyday finds, causing people to learn more about diagnostics, minting terminology, and error classification, which in turn contributes to an explosion in amateur numismatics and an increased demand for authentication services, leading to long wait times at grading companies and a boom in the coin verification economy. And as more and more 1988 decoders are submitted, a clearer picture begins to emerge, showing not just one but potentially several varieties of high-value errors, each with unique characteristics that affect value differently, such as cut errors where part of the die breaks off resulting in a blob of metal on the coin's surface, or clash marks from improperly spaced dies that leave ghostly impressions of design elements in the wrong areas, or even more esoteric anomalies like misaligned dies causing visible doubling on only half of the coin, or lamination errors where part of the metal flakes off due to impurities in the alloy, or even weak strikes caused by low pressure or worn dies that make the details faint and ethereal, giving the coin an almost phantom-like appearance that appeals to niche collectors who value subtlety over dramatic errors. And within this wide variety of possible mistakes lies the endless appeal of the 1988 decoder, because every coin has the potential to tell a different story, to hide a different secret, to offer a new possibility for discovery and profit, and that's what makes this particular date and mint mark combination a legend in the making, a coin that has transcended its original purpose to become a symbol of fortune, curiosity, and the thrilling chase for hidden value. And as collectors continue to unearth new varieties, analyze die pairings, and build databases of known errors, the coin's mythology continues to grow, with some experts suggesting that there may still be unreported types of errors waiting to be discovered in circulation, from multi-strike anomalies to edge lettering oddities to even transitional design clashes that could have occurred during die preparation or test runs. And with each new discovery, the narrative surrounding the 1988 decoder becomes more complex and more fascinating, transforming it from a mere pocket change coin into a cultural phenomenon. And for those lucky enough to own a pristine error-ridden example, the stakes are high as collectors, museums, and investors around the world race to acquire what could be the most valuable $quarter ever struck. And so whether you're a seasoned collector, a casual enthusiast, or just someone curious about the treasures that might be hiding in your spare change, remember that the 1988 decoder stands as a testament to how something so small and so common can, under just the right set of improbable circumstances, become something priceless. And who knows? Maybe the next record-breaking coin is already in your possession.